So they said clap for the NHS, but I'm sat here and I've actually got the clap. Hello? Oh, mad. Okay, yo, yeah, listen, guys, it's an emergency. We gotta go. We can't just leave Clements here like that, though, bro. He's not well. Where am I? What happened to Woolworths? Look, he can wait. We have to go. All right, man, do not worry. We got you on a stretcher now. You are our main priority. You're gonna be okay. Uh-oh. Yeah, maybe we should have stayed with Clements after all. Yo guys, it is your boy Niran here, and you are watching FTW. This, of course, the series where it brings you the best and more frequently the worst of what football has to offer during the last 7 days. What's been kicking off in the world this week? Well, apparently the UK's Ministry of Defence was hacked by China, according to reports. How have we been hacked by a whole nation, bro? We stink. The password for gov.defense? Pass 123 or something. Some poor random security guard who lied on his CV was left trying to sort this situation out.
Yes.
It's good to know that David De Gea has finally got a job of some kind at least. Meanwhile, the defense in question, it's not a surprise we're struggling to keep people out. Now, this week, two titans of the game went at it at full speed with one knocked out. No, I don't mean Kendrick Lamar slapping up Drake, though there was a minor issue for Bayern Munich's silverware winning plans. Punches were thrown, and that's just at Kendrick's family barbecue. What I'm trying to say is Real Madrid are in the Champions League final again, after a remarkable late comeback versus the German Giants. They were 1-0 down with 2 to go, only for Carlo to raise an eyebrow
I am a record man
and see Hosselu the unlikely hero. If you told a Stoke fan back in 2017 that Hosselu was going to win anybody a semi-final, you'd probably think it was in the Johnston Paint Trophy. However, Mark Hughes signing the Spaniard all those years ago has really led to this exact moment. He has more goals in Champions League semi-finals than he ever did at the Britannia, for fuck's sake. And all of this means with Bayern Munich going out, Harry Kane goes another season without a trophy. Personally, I feel so bad for the guy, man. It's getting ridiculous. Not everybody, though, shares those sentiments. And it's fair to say that the script writers at this point are taking the piss. Yeah, no, I think it needs more pain. It looked like the final was on, though, for a long period here, with Alphonso Davies' stunning strike giving Bayern the lead. Manuel Neuer was holding it down between the sticks with a sensational display, only to disconnect in the 87th minute. Truthfully, Manuel looked over at Harry Kane sat on the bench and realised that he had to keep the curse going. The comeback being secured was not the only late drama though here. Vinny Jr. was conducting some ridiculous time wasting with Joshua Kimmich. Meanwhile, as the ball was launched forward and Matthijs de Ligt pumped the ball home, the linesman had other ideas, raising his flag for an offside, meaning the referee had to blow his whistle and there could be no advantage. Overall, it's an absolute scandal because beIN Sports exclusive footage showed that it may not have even been offside in the first place against Mazraoui. So it could have gone to VAR and been overturned, but the linesman and referee had premature ejaculation, which means it couldn't. A new angle of the footage though does show a slightly different outcome, and with Florentino Perez in the VAR room, the line was redrawn in a rather sinister fashion. Understandably, Bayern were absolutely fuming. Thomas Muller saying that this sort of thing happens a lot with Real Madrid. Thomas Tuchel was apoplectic down on the touchline. Meanwhile, the linesman will be feeling worse for wear after Eric Dyer two-foots him at full time. It's not the referee's fault, technically, though he did apologise to Thomas Tuchel and de Ligt. And all this drama didn't stop Real Madrid's celebrations. Carlo Ancelotti was smoking on that Tuchel pack. Meanwhile, Antonio Rudiger was bringing out his signature run-style celebration. Jude Bellingham went from bitter disappointment in the Bundesliga last season with Dortmund to now facing them in the final of this year's Champions League. The storylines with this kid are too good. It's like an episode of EastEnders. The kid is Alex Hunter.
Just call me a miracle worker.
Real Madrid fans never experience pain generally, by the way. I saw someone say their banter era is just Gareth Bale not being able to speak Spanish. Him deciding not to download Duolingo is as bad as it's gotten for them. Choosing between Fede Valverde, Luka Modric and Toni Kroos is about as difficult as it gets for a Real supporter. At full time, and Carlo Ancelotti was feeling spicy, saying to one female reporter that she could stay and celebrate with the team if she wanted to. How's Carlo dropping Riz like this? I tell you what, his eyebrow wasn't the only thing to rise tonight. Although at his age, to be fair, maybe it was. I think his wife will be raising an eyebrow when she sees this quote, to be honest with you. Because just like the linesman in this one, he's hoping to absolutely fuck it late on. Now, joining Real Madrid in the Champions League final are Borussia Dortmund after they pulled off a shock semi semi-final victory over PSG. They won the second leg 1-0 as well, and honestly, we might as well rename the French side to PSXG here.
He's bloody missed it! What a prank!
Because them trying to score was an absolute disaster class. They could have played until the date of the final, and they would have still been hitting the post. The crossbar, Borussia Dortmund's man of the match. Honestly, they got so unlucky. They carved out so many opportunities here, PSG. Hit the woodwork 6 times across both legs. PSG's forwards were confused, working out whether they should actually get a shot on target in this one.
You man do it first, I'll do it.
I hate to say it, lads, but that World Cup hat-trick hero was looking more like Kylian Mbappe here. He was dishing out 20 chicken McNugget share boxes. He just didn't look the same, truthfully, throughout both the legs here in this one, and was asked whether he'd be watching Real Madrid in the final, to which he provided yet more meme content. The Have PSG won the Champions League yet Twitter account was feasting on this result. Ousmane Dembele was looking very different in the crowd after seeing one of his former sides knock him out this time. PSG fans themselves were even more upset.
How are we losing to these bums, sir? They are ass!
I mean, that's harsh. Honestly, Dortmund have been very good in the Champions League this season. With their side aging and still putting in these great performances, they're really aging like fine wine. Something the Dortmund Twitter account had been waiting to post since PSG rinsed Erling Haaland for his celebration 4 years ago in the Champions League. Yeah, that's revenge of the sweetest kind. A shithousery award 4 years in the making. Let's talk about Dortmund properly, because defensively they were unbelievable here. Yes, they were lucky with the woodwork, but the performance was sensational. Matt Hummels at the age of 35 getting man of the match in both ties is ridiculous. He took to Twitter to say that Dortmund were a side that everybody wanted to play, so being the nice guys they were, they gave everybody a chance by reaching the final. A shithousery award for Mats too. One man who wasn't so comfortable on his feet though was Schlotterbeck. And with the news that club legend Marco Reus is leaving Dortmund at the end of the season, he was leading the celebrations with the yellow wall, meaning his last ever game as a Dortmund player will be the Champions League final. What a storyline that could be. What a storyline it is for Dortmund's manager Edin Terzic, who was but a Dortmund fan in the crowd. Now he's leading his side to a Champions League final. The referee could be seen crying at the end. Clearly the storyline got to him. Either that or the French onions in the local area. Turns out it was actually his last game refereeing in the Champions League as he's retiring soon. Some serious goodbyes all around, but one man that won't be happy seeing the Champions League final will be Rodri, confused seeing Man City aren't involved despite not losing a game all year. As for Kylian Mbappe, he'll have a surprise for Dortmund players when he gets subbed on for Real at Wembley.
Hi again, it's me.
Now in the Premier League, and I'm sure it was a normal week for Manchester United.
Manchester United.
Honestly, if there's ever a Manchester United all or nothing, I want it renaming to Surviving Eric. The scoreline, 4-0 here. Manchester United absolutely slapped. It's becoming an annual occurrence at this stage. The likes of Elise, Eze, and Mateta absolutely destroying the Red Devils. The scoreboard for this game was genuinely just reflecting Erik ten Hag's emotions on the sidelines, and this result left fans pondering their lives as well.
Oh my god! No, I'm not. Why are you fucking laughing, man? I'm not laughing!
At least an away game in London is a short journey home for most of them, though. Mark Goldbridge, meanwhile, was having an absolute meltdown live.
I've had people saying that I've been noncing kids and all sorts. 3-0 to Palace. But the point is, it's 3-0 to Palace, and we're fucking shit.
Bro didn't even break his stride as Palace scored their third. It's expected at this point. I'll be honest, this latest diss track here from Drake is, well, it's not as good.
I've had people saying that I've been noncing kids and all sorts. 3-0 to Palace.
Crystal Palace fans, though, were loving life, putting 4 fingers up to their cameras. And one man that was seemingly helping them was Casemiro. His rating on SofaScore, pretty shocking. The poor Brazilian was really going through it after chasing Michael Elise for approximately 4 minutes.
Running out of energy.
He was dribbled past 8 times during this one, which is a stat unmatched by anyone this season. He had an absolute shocker. The man was sent absolutely to the shops anytime Eze dropped the shoulder. Honestly, give it 3 weeks, he'll be playing for Girth and Turf, mate. And Jamie Carragher did not hold back in his analysis on Sky.
I think Casemiro, deadly serious, should know himself tonight as an experienced player. He should only have another 3 games left at the top level, and then he should be thinking, I need to go to the MLS or Saudi. And there was a saying I always remember, leave the football before the football leaves you. The football's left him. At this top level, he needs to call it a day at this level of football and move.
Fucking hell. In other words,
get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. It won't be long before you're playing point guard for the Guangdong Tigers.
this is the most politically correct way I've ever seen of anybody saying that a player's finished, by the way. He's at his finito. Like, it's game over. Even the pundits know it at this point. His legs are gone. It's time for him to make his way over to Saudi Arabia.
Marhaba, ana el etifaki.
I feel bad for Johnny Evans, who was also in this centre-back partnership. He was just training with them ahead of a League One move, and now look at the poor guy. He'd had enough when he saw Jean-Philippe Mateta striding towards him.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I give up. Well played, guys.
And after 90 minutes of bullying, had to explain himself when he abused Eze, Olise and Mateta at full time.
That's a bit racist.
He's made me racist.
Marcus Rashford here could be used as a vessel for the entire football club, because you got Mason Mount thinking he's Ronaldinho at kickoff. I want to see him doing this at the Sidemen charity match next season, and he still won't be the best MM7 on the pitch. San Marino put in a request to actually play these lot. At full time, Specs, Philly and Angry Ginge met some of Crystal Palace's players, and Jeffrey Schlupp wasn't holding back.
Not gonna make no tomorrow.
Hold down. Get off, man.
That's 13 losses this season, by the way, for Manchester United. This is getting out of hand. Eric 13 Haag, you know, this is mental. A negative goal difference in May is crazy. How can you be in debt of goals? Meanwhile, Jadon Sancho the next day is qualifying for the Champions League with Dortmund. Imagine the scenes when this guy walks back into Ten Hag's office after the loan spell. If I'm Eric Ten Hag, by the way, I'm getting petty. I'm recalling him the day before the final. Let's talk Palace, though, because Michael Olise was staggering here. Jean-Philippe Mateta saw a tweet about this saying that he's a prime Barclays baller. You know when you sit down and name random footballers from like 2006? He will be that in 10 years. He is straight in a Premier League starter squad on FIFA 14. He would have battered it at Swansea. But as for United, it is yet another shocking result. If you're the board, if you're Jim Ratcliffe right now, are you sacking him? Elsewhere in the Prem, Chelsea beat West Ham, slapped them 5-0. 50% bald Nicholas Jackson might be an entirely different prospect, by the way. He's removed hair care from his daily routine, and now he's got more time to think about scoring. Well, that and Benoit Badiachile's fist after getting punched by the French centre-back during Tottenham celebrations.
They need to learn and to be professional.
If you're a West Ham fan, by the way, you gotta be absolutely fuming.
How are we losing to these bums?
Maurizio Pochettino spent 35 game weeks making us think that Chelsea are shit. It's all part of the master plan.
I thought you fucker, but you clever fucker.
And spare a thought for poor Mohamed Kudus, who got absolutely no help for West Ham this week. Lucas Paqueta and David Moyes were distracted down on the touchline. And for Chelsea, this puts them above Manchester United. The season they have had, and they could still beat the Red Devils in the league, is insane. It's not looking good for Tottenham either, after they shipped 4 to Liverpool. This one could have been 4-0, only for the Reds to almost bottle it right towards the end. And Tottenham's race for the Champions League spots, it's not really got going, truthfully. Now, there's reports that sources at Barcelona still can't believe the fee they received for Emerson Royale. I can't believe, truthfully, there was a fee at all. The only fight he was showing during this one was against his teammate, Christian Romero, as they almost had an Emerson Royale rumble at half-time. For me, right, Spurs proved that you're ballers by beating Man City, in my opinion. Harvey Elliott scored a screamer in this one. Great result as far as Liverpool concerned, but it's a bit late for all that, isn't it, lads? Off the pitch, though, and there's drama involving Darwin Núñez, who deleted all of his Liverpool-related posts on Instagram after criticism he's been receiving from Reds fans. One fan account even backed the Uruguayan on Twitter, sending him some love, only to get blocked by Darwin Núñez after all. Don't take it personally. He tried to follow you back and he missed. It's a bit of a... Bro said Uruguayan, not Scouse, you know. This is crazy. All he wanted to do was change the app to dark mode, and he's accidentally... Do you know what I'm saying? It's obviously peak, and I feel bad that he feels like he has to do this. Obviously, it's not particularly professional, but he's clearly dealing with a lot of abuse from Liverpool fans. It's been a difficult pill to swallow the end of this season, but Darwin Núñez is not the only person to blame. Either way, we may be out of the title race, but Man City took a stranglehold again with a comfortable victory over Wolves. Look at me, I'm Erling Haaland. I scored 4 goals in a game. Shut up, man. And Pep Guardiola had wise words for the rest of his side in terms of their game plan for scoring goals.
Who scored more goals? No, me or Haaland? Who scored more? Go to Haaland!
This performance, though, was not impressing Roy Keane, who called the Norwegian a spoilt brat after being annoyed at being substituted last week. Obviously, his claims about Haaland being a League 2 quality player didn't go down too well, although Erling himself doesn't seem to care, being asked about that in an interview. Roy Keane is literally a generational hater. That's Alfie and Erling, you know. These two families are going to still be going at it 6 generations from now. Man City's rivals in the title race, once again, Arsenal. They beat Bournemouth again comfortably here with a 3-0 win. Bukayo Saka got got absolutely clamped here early on. You know what? I'm starting to realise why the kid's limping after every game now. The best part of this game, this shirt from the crowd. The egg fried rice shirt. Yep, you've got a place in my heart. Man City are playing Fulham soon, and the West London side are preparing by flying kites around in training. Yeah, it's game over, lads. So congrats to Man City on the league. At Newcastle, and Sandro Tonali seems to have taken up a new day job as a construction worker. Honestly, anything to stop him from going to Ladbrokes, truthfully. The building site ain't going to be looking too finished, though, when he's distracted by 8-fold hackers on Estonian dodgeball.
And you know me, I will bet every pound I got.
Meanwhile, staying at Newcastle, and Dan Burn was nice enough to walk out Anthony Gordon against Burnley. Now, the Player of the Season and Young Player of the Season nominees have been announced for the Premier League. I can't help but feel like the Young Player of the Season one is ridiculous. Erling Haaland is on this list. Like, what are we doing here? Alexander Isak is about to turn 25. Phil Foden is a father of 2. At least. The rest of the nominees are going to be absolutely fuming when they discover him at the awards ceremony. He has played a game with Alvaro Negredo, bro. This man played alongside Yaya Toure. I'm not having it. Kobbie Mainoo over Anthony Gordon is a interesting choice. Either way, he'll be celebrating his nomination with an Old Trafford meal, only to find out it comes with a side of salmonella. And down in the Championship, but soon to be the Premier League, shout out to Ipswich Town on their promotion to the Promised Land. Sponsored by Ed Sheeran, he was absolutely loving it whilst out in Miami for the Formula 1.
Tastes like promotion!
I am genuinely so happy for these lot. Back-to-back promotions. Manager Kieran McKenna and the rest of the squad have done an unbelievable job overall. A really likeable squad that plays actually nice football, even though they seemingly tried not to get promoted. Thankfully for them, Leeds never take up the opportunity when there's a chance to actually achieve something. Very happy for them, but one Ipswich player is in the news for a very different reason. That's because Brandon Williams has been given 30 points on his driver's licence. 30 points! This brother's staying up in the Premier League on his own. He's got almost as many as United. How'd you get that many points on your licence? Can he even get into an Uber legally? He's going to be taking the piss driving back to Manchester United's medical department next season. Now in Spain, it's been a massive week for Real Madrid. Not only are they in the Champions League final, but they have been crowned La Liga champions. They beat Cadiz 2-0. Meanwhile, Girona beat Barcelona 4-2 for a second time this season. Side note, Girona, unbelievable achievement. They, with that result, officially qualified for the Champions League, which is nuts. Toni Kroos was watching this result very keenly, and in the end, Real Madrid under Carlo Ancelotti are La Liga champions again. Barcelona were relegated to having to congratulate them over on Twitter. Congrats FC, you know, I know their admin was fuming having to type this one up. The supporters losing faith with the side already, truthfully. Thibaut Courtois has also made his return to Real Madrid after a pretty shocking knee injury. I'm sure they'll treat him with a lot of attention, a lot of care before putting him straight back into the first team. Fuck all of that noise. There's a random Ukrainian backhanding him back to the bench, mate. 335 days out of football, and he ain't missed more than 2 Anthony goal contributions. It's mad out here. Shout out to CF Hercules on their promotion over in Spain. There was a pitch invasion where one fan got a little bit over-aggressive. Yeah, I'm a consulting VAR. It's outside of the area. No penalty. In Germany, and Bayer Leverkusen slapped Eintracht Frankfurt 5-1 as they continue on their ridiculous march towards an invincible treble season. With that result, it put them 5 games away from the incredible feat. Don't look at Google, by the way. The actual score times, they have to have been late on realistically. Meanwhile, Patrick Schick was left disappointed, realising he actually had to come into work before the 85th minute here. But back in the Europa League, and normal service was resumed.
Can they add? Can they level it? Yes, they can! Well, they've done it again! This is absolutely incredible! It's Stanisic!
Bayer Leverkusen did it again. This is absolutely ridiculous. Scoring in the 97th minute of the game to draw their second leg tie against Roma 2-2 and hence keep the invincible treble hopes alive. They are now, of course, through to the final, but honestly, at this point, all I care about is the Invincibles. They are genuinely never losing. This has to be black magic of some kind. As Mahatma Gandhi said, the most useless lead in football is won against Bayer Leverkusen. My G. I can't wait for Xabi Alonso to come on off the bench and score a brace in the DFB Pokal final. Imagine these lot versus Real Madrid in the Super Cup. This is going to be legendary. It'll be the first final to ever end in a penalty shootout draw. Not a single team is missing. They'll both be waiting till the 93rd minute to actually spring into life. Over Borussia Dortmund, and Karim Adeyemi shocked Matt Hummels with perhaps the most ridiculous goal you've ever seen down by a touchline before kickoff. What in the backspin? Mesut Ozil is continuing on his rip journey to wow Thuramnus. What the fuck? This guy's built like a shed now. If he sees Unai Emery on the streets of Birmingham, it is on site. And shout out to Schalke, who stayed up in the Bundesliga 2. There was talk earlier on in the season if they were relegated, they may lose their license, which leads to them going out of business, truthfully. So to see them actually not get relegated and stay in the second tier is great. In Italy and at Juventus, Federico Chiesa was left so stunned on the bench that he had to slap his teammate. Meanwhile, at Bologna, and star Joshua Zirkzee was teaching the rest of his side some new skill moves with some serious main character energy. In Liga, and we saw one of the most ridiculous comebacks of the entire season from anywhere across Europe, as Lyon went from 3-0 down in the 80th minute to win the game 4-3 with 4 ridiculously late goals. Alex Lacazette could barely speak from all of the shouting at full time. Kosovan striker Edon Jagrova went to an M. Honcho concert this week, and the London-based rapper gifted him one of his masks at his home afterwards. He agreed to celebrate if he scored for Lille with the mask, and duly did so. Meanwhile, there's troubling times going on at Troyes down in the 2nd division. If you know the name, you might know them because they are part of the City Group, which engulfs Manchester City, Melbourne City, Girona, Mumbai City, etc. I'll probably make a full video about this sort of like City Group formula and method that is starting to sweep across football, because it's really having a massive detrimental effect on the teams that are lower down this ladder. Troyes are one of them and are on the precipice of a back-to-back relegation here. Their fans are absolutely fuming. They were throwing flares onto the pitch with 3 minutes to go against Valenciennes. Their players then got frustrated and were throwing them back. It was absolute warfare. A civil war between the fans, the players, and the group that owns the entire club. It's a mess over there. But now it is time for your goals of the week. Now, apologies, there's only 2 this time around. I know, I'm sorry. But they are absolutely ridiculous strikes. First of all, we start over in America in the US Open Cup, where Ryan Williams has unleashed a stupid strike from distance. The pace on this one. But if you thought that was distance, you guys know what happens from here. It's another halfway line strike. Over in Japan, in the J-League, take about Shahab Zahedi. Hello all and welcome to The Beautiful Game, the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back by popular demand for yet more glorious beauty. Wow, listen, I'm sure I'm going to be able to take this ball under control with pretty limited pressure overall. I can't wait to get on the spin and run towards. And that concludes The Beautiful Game. Over in Norway, I don't know what is going on at Viking versus Tromsø, but 3 fans here have decided to create a campaign to try and get their friend a new passport, or just a passport generally in the country. One of them pleading for it, another agreeing, and then the final guy just writing facts on his Snapchat apps. I can't help but feel Snapchat is not the way to go about this, but I hope whoever is involved gets the passport that they need. Shout out to PSV, who won the Eredivisie title this week. Forward Malik Tillman was celebrating with a cigar. Meanwhile, Olivier Boscali, a centre-back, he wasn't about all that noise. He just decided to cycle home after the celebrations. What a wholesome man. And the crazy scenes continue in the Netherlands, but down in the 2nd division, where Roda JC fans ran onto the pitch. Pitch invasion because they were convinced they had secured promotion. This being at about 9:54. However, elsewhere, their promotion rivals Groningen had just equalised in their game to secure promotion themselves. That meant that the Roda JC fans and the players got a pretty shocking notification. There was a more somber mood in the stadium until that party restarted when Groningen conceded just a minute later, only for that party to be cancelled once again because that goal against Groningen had been disallowed. A real emotional roller coaster, it's fair to say. Now, over in America, and Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez are conducting physical hate crimes because Leo himself got 5 assists in one game and a goal on top of it, with Luis Suarez also getting a bucket load of goal contributions. These lot are absolutely battering this Chick-fil-A looking league. Inter Miami have got to be favourites for the MLS crown now. In Japan, and who needs a normal substitution when you can throw a little bit of gymnastics into the mix? Shout out to Sporting Lisbon, who are your Portuguese league champions, no doubt through the help of Victor Gyökeres, who has been absolutely ridiculous after his move from Coventry. The Swedish striker is in the 40s now for goals. He was even doubling up as a cameraman taking photos too, though I can't help but feel his celebration won't go too well here. Oh, for fuck's sake, not the lens. There was some interesting goalkeeping time wasting going on down in the lower leagues of English football, with this goalkeeper goalkeeper hitting the deck during his run up for a goal kick. You can't give him a yellow card, man. That's creative. You've got to just let it land, to be honest. And speaking of goalkeepers, over in Brazil at Atletico Paranaense, their young goalkeeper Maxim Voronov, I think in an under-21s match, felt the need to come out and sweep, clear away a through ball, only for him to absolutely yam it so far that it ended up bouncing over his opposite number and into the back of the net. The distance on that, absolutely ridiculous. In Poland and at Warta Poznań, we've got perhaps the greatest assist of all time. If there was a Puskás award for creating a goal, no doubt this man's winning it.
The football's left him at this top level.
Now, a new trend has swept the world of football, really, hasn't it? When you're defending a free kick, just to make sure that, you know, no one's going to put it underneath the wall, you get a draft excluder. You get a guy lying down on the floor to block that avenue. Well, it must be a lonely life, you know? You must get bored, realistically. So over in Brazil, this draft excluder has decided to get a little bit personal.
What is he doing? Please stop.
Yeah, nah, I don't know if that's the way to go about it, to be honest with you. Elsewhere, I don't know where this clip comes from, but we've got the creation of a new sport here, perhaps the most painful one of the lot. It is football, but with a bowling ball and played with bare feet standing on Lego. I mean, why are you doing this? Please don't play this game, guys. Come on. I want you to keep your ankles and feet, generally speaking. Do not play football with a bowling ball. You are going to break something. Get Bukayo Saka in a game with this, and he's limping before he's even started playing. There was further aggression in Saudi Arabia, as Al Hilal celebrated a goal sitting down on a chair, but in front of opposition fans, which led to a rain of drinks being thrown at Alexander Mitrovic, not that he seemed to care. In Uruguay, Marcelo Bielsa has taken the unusual step of calling up an amateur footballer to the national team. This is mental. I mean, the guy's got a crazy goal-scoring record in the amateur league. But what a statement from Bielsa to be doing this, clearly picking guys on form. Imagine Gareth Southgate calling up Alan from the Essex Combined Counties division to kill me up, Gareth, even though my asthma will kill me off 3 minutes into Euro 2024. In Hungary, and genuinely, I think I might be better than this shot stopper, though, because this is the most ludicrous of own goals I think I have ever seen. The control, no, it has to be match fixing, I'm sorry.
This is corruption. This is a theft.
In Turkey, and Galatasaray are sending out more strays to Drake. Can't wait for a diss track to be sent in the Turkish Super League's direction. I'm sure that'll go down extremely well. And elsewhere now, this is why you can't trust a footballer on social media, because we have got perhaps the worst attempt at a bicycle kick I've seen all year. The technique is absolutely all over the place. It looks like Darwin Núñez on a bouncy castle. But find this guy on Insta, and he's made it his profile picture, and it looks incredible. Don't trust these guys on Insta stories, I'm telling you. Now, closer to home, and Newcastle's Matt Ritchie has decided to get his trucking license to be able to drive massive fucking 18-wheelers. For some reason, that just seems right. Down at Millwall, we've got a female fan here threatening opponent supporters with a blowjob. That also just seems right. Don't threaten them with a good time, man. What is going on here? One Brentford fan met Neil Mopay in the street, having gone to a fish and chip shop this week.
What are you doing here, Ak?
One referee down in the Championship is taking his affinity to the EFL just a little bit too seriously. This guy is an EFL 1 club man. One man who's also going to be a big fan of the EFL is Bromley's captain. They were promoted to the EFL to League 2 at the Valorama National League for the first time in their history. And their captain was clearly prepared for the penalty shootout and for promotion because he was wearing an EFL captain's armband for the game. Talk about confidence, man. And this is an incredible story as well because they actually hired an analyst who got the job based on information that he picked up on Football Manager. Honestly, sensational stuff, but again, I don't think they'll be giving me a job when I arrive saying that I used a financial takeover to win the Champions League on FIFA 21. Not such great times though for Birmingham City, who have been officially relegated to League 1. This is crazy to me because Birmingham just feel like a Barclays Premier League team, truthfully. Wayne Rooney will be depressed, realizing that this is totally his fault. But it's also the boards. I mean, they sacked their previous manager whilst they were sat in the playoff positions, and now they've been relegated later down the line. Honestly, the owners deserve it. But honestly, if you're a fan, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. So they decided to conduct a pitch invasion despite relegation, and one supporter scored an absolute worldie from 30 yards. Mate, they needed him during the season, fam. Now, there's a very weird situation going on near the Mediterranean, and it involves Paris Hilton and 3rd Division Portuguese football.
We all know what's going on. Hey.
Where Paris Hilton's brother-in-law by the name of Courtney Room made his senior debut for a Portuguese side called Lank Bank Villaverdense. Now, they were playing in the second division until they were relegated this weekend, only for the 45-year-old American who has never played a game of football in his life before to come off the bench and get a game for the final 10 minutes. Now, not only is this ridiculously disrespectful in a game where they could have actually saved themselves to just sack that off and decide to bring on some random celebrity, it's a massive slap to the face and a disgrace for the fans. The reason for this happening is because he's a friend of the man who owns the club, who's clearly not doing the greatest of jobs. At least there's some positive vibes going on for Cliftonville in the Irish FA Cup, who, with their opponents sending their goalkeeper forward for a late corner, were able to dribble the ball into the back of the net to secure their FA Cup victory, celebrating before scoring for about 35 minutes beforehand. At Loyola and its goalkeeper ain't gonna want to watch this one back for a 3-0 deficit.
Dangerous back pass. Oh no. It's a goal!
There's foolishness going on in Argentina at Estudiantes, as this interview is having to be conducted in typhoon conditions according to the advertising boards. In the nation of Cameroon's history, there's been some wonderful footballers to come out of there. This is not an example of that, though. An absolute shambles of a display here. And honestly, things don't get any better in the Copa Chile, where perhaps we have got the worst defending I have ever seen for any goal ever.
Alegría, nos entrega el fútbol, Constitución Unido, logra, cuidado que se equivoca en el fondo, la va a sacar un hombre, le queda Camilo Puente, la va a sacar Rivera, pelota en la zona de castigo, está en posición, gol, gol!
In Qatar now, we've got a banana thief in the crowd, a clever one at that. And returning to a feature we've not seen in a little while, it's an Indonesia This Week segment. The goalkeeping displays have been mixed this week, to say the least. Well, they're about to get a whole lot worse. Although, truthfully, the decision to shoot from this situation deserves a goal in itself. Meanwhile, at Connor's Key Nomads, I think it's fair to say this pitch may well be waterlogged. Not gonna lie, lads. So, now there is time for Still 0-0, and you guys know the score by now. This is a segment of the show where it brings you the best of Sunday League and amateur football. And the end of the season is arriving in most divisions across the country and across Europe, in truth. And that goes from the top right down to the very bottom of the English pyramid, including in grassroots football, where Thorpe United were crowned champions in their local league. However, they couldn't afford an open-top bus parade, so they decided to do something a little bit more unorthodox. They borrowed their mate's flatbed truck instead and celebrated with a trophy and a couple of flares. Honestly, probably a better send-off than Jurgen Klopp's gonna get. On to the weird stuff though now. First of all, in Belarus, and staying on the amateur vibe, one team in the nation just lost 50-0. Genuinely, you have to liquidate. I mean, it's amateur football. There's not really anything to liquidate, but you've got to go. Play, do mountain biking instead. In Iranian football, there was a fan incident between two sides called Sepahan and Persepolis. Clearly, tensions were very high, and Iranian football chiefs from both clubs have taken drastic action. They've decided that only women and children are allowed to attend games from this point onwards. And finally, there's actually quite a dangerous story, a very, well, just an incredible one, but for bad reasons, really. Now, basically what happened, a club in Malaysia called Selangor FC, one of their players had acid thrown at them, like, at a game in the stadium. The ins and outs of this, I do not know. I don't know whether it was an opposition supporter. I'm going to assume it probably was, but this is absolutely ridiculous. That player in question, whose name is Faisal Halim, is currently receiving treatment for acid burns all over his body. The CEO of Selangor received threatening calls from strangers saying that he would be next. Selangor FC requested to have their next league match against JDT postponed. However, that was denied, and so Selangor decided not to turn up for the game. Basically, Malaysian football right now is in absolute disarray. That, though, is going to wrap up football this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video, and of course, subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at the official FNG on Twitter and on Insta. It's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy yourselves. And goodbye.